The Fat Controller hurried over to the engines. "Now if you see a blue diesel with a yellow face, you must tell me straight away." Percy looked at Thomas. Thomas knew what he was thinking. He would have to meet Peter Sam and try and fix things once and for all. So that night he persuaded Michael to go to the secret island, and Thomas found the hill that he had gone down before. At last, he thought, I can solve things once and for all. He rushed down the old hill and up the bridge again, and into the secret island. "Here we go," he said. "This is the secret island, Michael," he said. "Now all I have to do now is find the way." "I hope I can find Peter Sam." Suddenly, Thomas came to a stop. He had gone down the wrong track. Michael had stopped him just before the cliff edge. Thomas was surprised. "I hope I do find Peter Sam," he said. "He must be alone and lost. I must head straight back to those points and go down the other track," he said. But Thomas became lost once again. Suddenly he landed onto another track. "Cinders and ashes," he said. Then, there in front of him was an old tunnel entrance. It led under the ground. Thomas was very curious. He wanted to go inside, but after all, he would have to ask Michael. "Do you think it'll be all right?" he said.
"This is the only way to go. We're going to have to go this way, Thomas."
Thomas was pleased, but he was very nervous when he got to the entrance. "Boss like buffers," he said to himself. "Oh, help!" he cried. He rattled down an old track and managed to stop just as a chain caught hold of his funnel. He opened his eyes once more and realized that the chain had stopped him from verging into an object. The object was in fact an old engine lying on its own. Thomas was surprised. Michael unattached the chain from his funnel to free him. "Can you help me get out of here, please?" said the engine. "Yes, I can," said Thomas, and he buffered up to the engine and started pushing him out. Thomas crashed through some bushes and out into the open air. "My name's Thomas, by the way," said Thomas. "And my driver's called Michael. He's very kind." "My name's Stanley," said the engine. Meanwhile, back on Sodor, all the engines were looking for Thomas. They knew the diesel swore revenge if he was lying about the Fat Controller. And Thomas was being followed by the diesel. He had gone through into the secret island once more. "Stanley, we're being followed," he cried. But Stanley's old coupling could not hold, and it snapped. Stanley headed straight towards the old bridge. "Oh no," he cried. The bridge started to creak. It bent in the middle, but luckily Stanley made it back through the magic rock. The bridge had now swayed to the side, and Thomas wouldn't be able to cross. It suddenly gave way. "Jump!" cried Thomas. He flew straight over the cliff edge and onto the other side. Meanwhile, the narrow gauge engines had found their bridge, but it had collapsed. "Oh no," cried Duke, "it's gone." Peter Sam went to the edge. He called for Thomas, but Thomas had already gone back to Sodor. "Oh no," cried Peter Sam, "Thomas is gone." But even though they had given up hope, the narrow gauge engines fought through to find another way back. "What's that noise?" cried Duncan. "I can hear it too," said Scarlowe. Then suddenly pieces of debris built up in front of Peter Sam and magically moulded back together. "No way. That's impossible." "No, it isn't," said Rheneas. "He's back." On Sodor, Stanley had just come through out of the magic rock. He was waiting for Thomas to come too, but he feared he may not have made it. Suddenly he heard a rush, and out came Thomas. "Bust my buffers, that was close," said Thomas. "I do fear the diesel may return again. Something tells me that there are more ways to get there." "Thomas, calm down," said Stanley. "You have been such a good friend to me. But I could do with a mend." "Yes, of course," said Thomas. "I'll take you to the works right away." He buffered up to Stanley and started pushing him back down the line towards the works. Stanley pulled into the works with Thomas. Toby was there too. "Hello, I'm Stanley," said Stanley to Toby. "Oh, hello," said Toby. "I'm from the secret island, the island that Thomas found," he started explaining. "Oh, this is, Toby," said Thomas, "and, Toby, that's Stanley. Yes, I did explain that, Thomas. What are you going to do about Peter Sam? Are you going to leave him there? I know you saved me, I'm sure you can save him too." "You're right, Stanley. I do need to go back. But it's going to be hard. I wish I could help, Thomas," said Toby. "But, I can't move at the moment." "No, Toby, this is my fault. I need to go and get him." "Good luck," the engines called as Thomas reversed back towards the secret island. Thomas tried to go back through the rock, but it wouldn't let him. "Cinders and ashes, I can't get back," he cried. Thomas tried it again. Suddenly the diesel came out of the rock behind him. He had jumped over the cliff edge. "I'm gonna get you now," he said to Thomas. Thomas raced as fast as he could down the line. "Oh, we must warn the Fat Controller," he said. The Fat Controller saw Thomas, and Michael explained what was going on. Then they ran off, leading the diesel behind. Thomas was worried. He didn't have a plan. Then suddenly he realized he was on the track that led back to the secret island. He was about to head down the hill and through the magic portal. "Maybe I can get rid of him this way," he thought to himself. "Of course, it's worth a try," and he raced down the hill. "Oh, I do hope I can save Peter Sam as well." Thomas entered the secret island, with the diesel following behind. "Oh, brilliant," he said. "I believe I'm on the right track to finding them." As Thomas rounded the bend, there they were. But Thomas was especially surprised to see Rheneas, the engine who recovered from scrap. "Hello," said Rheneas. "Flatten my funnel," cried Thomas. "How have you survived?" He reversed and saw Duke. "Where have you been all these years?" "Hello," said Duke. "Well, I've been here." So that would explain where you went. Suddenly the diesel was coming behind Thomas. "Thomas, the diesel's coming, you must run." "Okay, I need you to look for another bridge. It will lead back across the line. I saw a narrow gauge track where the rock is. Please, try." "You heard what he said," said Rheneas. "We must find another line. Hopefully there's another way back to Sodor." So the engines raced off together to find another exit. Thomas's wheels were whirring as fast as they could, but Thomas didn't think it would be fast enough. As the narrow gauge engines rattled through an old tunnel, they found themselves near the cliff edge, where Thomas's bridge was. Thomas jumped for the second time. "Oh no, I haven't made it," he cried. He was now jammed on the cliff face. "Oh no," he cried, "how am I going to get back?" Meanwhile, the narrow gauge engines had found another bridge. "Come on, let's go, come on!" As the diesel came up behind Thomas, jumped the gap once more, this time just missing. but he stabbed his stabber into the rock and held himself steady. The diesel had not fallen, but he was insecure. The rocks underneath Thomas's wheels started to crumble. They flew past the diesel and splashed into the water below. "This is urgent, we must pull Thomas back again," they said. They veered round to where Thomas was waiting. But the diesel started to pull himself back up with the stabber. "Oh, you're here, well done," said Thomas. They used an old chain to couple up to Thomas, and were soon pulling him back onto the tracks. "Thank you," said Thomas. The little engine struggled as they tried to pull the big heavy engine back onto the track. "One last pull," they cried, and they got Thomas back up, just as another rock fell and smashed into the diesel. The diesel fell into the sea below and disappeared. The engines cheered. They had made it back to Sodor, and the diesel was now gone. Harold the helicopter found them. "Ah, good to see you, splendid. Ah, this is brilliant. How has this happened?" "By me," said Thomas. Soon, the news was spreading down the line. All of Thomas's friends had found out about Rheneas and Stanley. Thomas took Michael to see the Fat Controller.
In the night garden. Sir.
What do you want? Oh. Sir, Rheneas has returned with the other engines. We must have a party. Soon, all the engines were preparing for the Fat Controller's party. The party to welcome home the return of the narrow gauge engines and, of course, the brand new engine, Stanley. It was a marvellous party. They were all waiting for the Fat Controller to start his speech. After he was finished, Thomas explained how he and the diesel were stuck on the cliff edge. "He was brilliant," said Stanley, and he told the engines everything. "You see, I was stuck on the cliff edge," said Thomas, "and the narrow gauge engines needed to pull me back. But more rocks were falling off this ridge, and the diesel started pulling himself back up again. I didn't think I'd make it, but the last rock fell and smashed into the diesel, and he fell into the sea below." "I knew that, Diesel," said the Fat Controller, and he started to explain everything. It was a long time ago. He was a brand new diesel. He worked by memory, and he needed no driver to work. I feared he'd be a threat to the railway, so I sent him into the island. The engines were surprised. "I would also like to say, Rheneas, that I sent you to the scrapyard to be mended. I have no idea as to who declared you as scrap, but I want all my engines to know that dark times are ahead of us. Though I am very grateful that all of you narrow gauge engines have come back, and that Stanley is now part of my railway." The engines cheered for the narrow gauge engine Stanley and Thomas. Thomas whistled happily. The next day, Thomas said goodbye to Michael as Gordon departed from the station. Michael peered out of the window until the carriage was out of sight. "It's a shame he had to go, Mavis. Remember, you have got Stanley now." "Oh, thank you, Mavis. You make me feel so much better." A line now runs off from Thomas's branch line into the secret island. Thomas's friends are kept busy, taking campers there in the summer, though no one lives there. Thomas often wonders how fate had been on his side. Even so, it remains a mystery as to what saved Rheneas from scrap. Both Thomas and Stanley believe it to be the magic of the secret island, saving engines in distress. Of course, no engine can explain the miraculous event. And for now, this book remains a happy one, until its final chapters are one day unleashed. Thomas, he's a friend, he chuffed around the bend, found a brand new friend, and brought him home again. You know that he would pull through by being really useful. The secret island, magical world, where Thomas released a melody zone. Back on Sodor, the engines figured more. The fat controller was in danger. Thomas decided to save him and all of the narrow gauge engines. Yeah, the secret island, magical world, where Thomas left a new diesel. Secret island, magical world, where Thomas left a new diesel. Thomas the tank engine, number one, ready for the action. Every day, he will steam away.